There'll be no bumper music, okay? Tri-City Sports Now, I'm Marky Billson, and I'm here with Knockahoma Nation's own Josh Brown. We have, like I said, I've got guests that I want in a foxhole with me. Not only did Josh Brown keep his commitments to this show when his wife was having a baby, but then, Jerry tells me, Jerry Bonkowski, we have to talk about NASCAR before your segment here, Josh. He said, boy, I'm coming down with something, I don't know. And I said, well, you want to keep the time? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. So, of course, he won't be on Monday at 1. I had announced that, so we'll try to talk with somebody else about NASCAR. But, Josh, the Braves now 6 games ahead of the Nationals for first place in the National League East as we go to the All-Star break after this weekend. Oh my goodness, you want him in there, but then sometimes he falls a little bit farther back into the foxhole, I suppose. So let's see what we have right here, as we lost the connection there with Josh Brown. But I just wanted to mention 6 games that. Let's see what we can do. This always is riveting radio when we do this. When you hear the phone call being made, it just sounds so high tech and everything.
I'm so sorry. I'm back.
We're back. I want to ask you a question here. Was the game blacked out in Boone where you were at, like it was here in the Tri-Cities last night on ESPN?
Yes, it was.
What is wrong with... we're nowhere close to it. Well, I shouldn't say we're nowhere close. We're in the region, yes, but what's the mindset there? How?
I know. I'm 6 hours. I am 6 hours from SunTrust Park, sir. There's no way that it should be black. First of all, it shouldn't be blacked out. In my opinion, I don't think blackouts are good anyway.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? If I was 20 minutes, if I lived in Marietta, Georgia, I don't care. It shouldn't be blacked out. Because not everybody can go to a baseball game. It's basically punishing you. It's punishing you, and it's saying you should be here in person, and if you're not, we don't care about you.
I mean, this has pretty much been, the NFL is not popular because they black out their games any longer. They even figured it out. And it seems to me that baseball is going the other way. And, baseball has never quite been able to figure out broadcasting, I think. And I could not believe, I did my opening monologue on this, and to me, it was like baseball is becoming boxing. I mean, once upon a time in our country, Friday night fights was, what Sunday night football is today. And then it got to be, well, you got to watch that big old fight on closed circuit or on HBO or on pay-per-view. And then it just suddenly $50 for the ball game or for the fight just wasn't that important anymore. And I wanted to watch the game last night. It's 4th of July. It's in the listings. If I knew it was blacked out, I'm going to an Appalachian League game. By the time
that's another good point. They don't warn you about it. They don't warn you about it. You turn it on and you're like, oh, well, thanks for the warning. What am I going to do tonight?
And my house, I did on MapQuest, is 286 or 268 miles away from SunTrust Park. I wanted to watch Braves and Phillies. And for that matter, we miss out on, the historic event of every infielder hits a home run. Which was a little surprised it didn't happen in 1973 when Darrell Evans and Davey Johnson were on the infield hitting 40 home runs a year, but nevertheless, that was the case. What was your take on that against the Phillies? For me, it's more just the way that baseball is going, that every infielder hit a home run. The shortstop is not going to be a guy who hits 250 with 4 home runs on a season anymore. Do you have any additional take on the Braves, all their infielders hitting home runs against the Phillies yesterday?
It feels good. To be an Atlanta Braves apologist. I'm not a professional like you are, Marky. I'm very biased.
You used to cover the team in Rome.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not just having you on because you're a fanboy. I mean, I know you have some journalistic integrity. I do believe that in you.
Oh, stop. I left it all in Georgia, Marky, but I appreciate you and the show. But anyways, it was nice to see the Braves destroy the Phillies and Gabe Kapler misspell or mispronounce Ronald Acuna's name, and it felt good. There's
Oh, yes.
Weird. Are you alarmed of this?
I'm not really alarmed. I don't necessarily think it is because, I mean, I know they said, well, the ball's different, the pill is bigger in there, or something like that. I was like, you know what? Even without it, it's just the way the game is going. And I think it should probably be addressed? Yes. Because I think there's more to baseball than just hitting home runs. And I also think that just waiting around for the 3-run homer is kind of boring. It's why the Braves used to be more exciting than the Baltimore Orioles were back in the day, even though the Orioles won more at that time, not anymore. But I would suggest, am I alarmed? I know that's the way the game is going. I don't know. Until you start paying for contact hitting, you know.
Yeah, a scientist actually just wrote a really good article for The Athletic. She is, I'm trying to find her name right now, and she's a baseball nerd / scientist. She wrote a very thorough research piece for The Athletic. Her name is Dr. Meredith Wills, and scientifically, she found that baseball this year in 2019 is actually different than last year's ball. And, it was really interesting. It basically, sum it up, she came down to the fact that the seams are lower and it has less drag. But my question is this, like, every time I see a homer, Marky, it's pretty deep into the seats, right? So is it really that big of a difference, like 5-10 feet?
Yeah.
Would that home run still have gone out of the park 2, 5, 8 years ago? Probably. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But I'm not looking forward to the All-Star game, Marky, because remember last year, me and you, we yelled at the clouds together, my friend, because last year was nothing but dingers. That's all it was.
I'm going to look forward to Acuna and Bell, and for that matter, the Home Run Derby, even if Mike Trout is not participating in it. And by the way, that's just, where baseball gets it wrong. I'm sorry that they don't come out and say, look, I don't care what the Players Union says. Mike Trout, get out there. You're the biggest star we have, and we got to market stars. What in the world is wrong with you? I mean, it should be honored there, but I am looking forward to that first-round duel between Josh Bell, who I believe with 59 extra base hits, that's the National League record before the All-Star break, against Ron Acuna, 2 up-and-coming stars right there. I'm really looking forward to that battle.
I am too. I love me a good home run derby. I liked it when Berman did it, though. A lot of your nerds on Twitter would cry about it because he's not going to show you the launch angle and the exit velocity of the home run. He's gonna crack a cold one, and he's gonna be like, back. I like that.
Have you ever attended the Home Run Derby by any chance?
I've never been to one.
I did 25 years ago, because the All-Star game was in Pittsburgh. It was in '94, and I was at the Home Run Derby, and I remember Frank Thomas, not the old Pirate slugger. No, they didn't bring him back, but the Big Hurt hit what was the longest ball they believe ever in the history then of Three Rivers Stadium, and it was actually marked off. It's batting practice and all this, but yes, that was big. And then they had a celebrity home run hitting contest. And a lot of it was like great athletes from, they Dan Marino, there's Pittsburgh athletes, Dan Marino, Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert and such, and none of them could go yard. There was not one in the Celebrity Home Run Hitters Contest home run hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your favorite home run derby? Mine was probably 08 when Hamilton hit like 28 or 29 dingers in that first round.
That's a good one, because you were going with the. I guess to me they start to run together just like slam dunk contests do, and they are something of an exhibition. I am looking forward to this one, however. I want to ask you, though, 94 probably because I was there. I mean, I would have to give you that and the whole, environment and all this. I also remember they had an old timers game, and Reggie Jackson showed up, and I swear to God, Reggie Jackson, after the All-Star game or the Old Timers game was over, spent 15 minutes trying to hit a home run for fans who could not care less 7 years after his career just because he was Reggie Jackson. That was another thing that I remember. Yeah, about, and all the, you've got to see me at a home run. Enough, you don't have it anymore. It's 7 years since you were in the big league. Stop. It was, what's right
Hey,
there.
back in your day, back in like the 70s and stuff, didn't they used to have hitting contests too?
They used to do I remember that after their careers, Stargell and Luzinski used to go and do some pregame home run contests before like Pirates-Phillies games.
Okay, but I mean, like during the All-Star week or whatever, I think I saw some videos on YouTube. It was like from the 70s. They would have like hitting contests where they would in the outfield they would put markers, or like little buckets and stuff, and they try to. It was like a hitting contest. Yeah.
I'm resenting that you say that was my day. I'd like to think that having a successful sports talk show here in the Tri-Cities was yes, I do. I do like my baseball history. Okay, so we're going to and because of that, I want to ask you, how important is it for you to see the National League win? Because to me, I do sort of resent that the American League has taken over. And I realize that interleague play has basically destroyed the rivalry between the two leagues. And whereas one time the National League was kind of more about speed and defense and maybe even being more progressive, allowing more blacks to play and such in the American League, that they're all now pretty much playing the same brand of ball too. You've lost that sort of identity between the two leagues, that difference. But so let me ask, does winning the All-Star game, does that carry a lot of weight to you?
It used to. It used to, Marky, but now I just don't care about anything. I'm very apathetic. And a lot of it is because interleague play ruined it for me. I hate interleague play. I'm very opposed to it. I think it's very un-American, un-Christian. It has no place in this country.
I agree. I totally agree.
It should be in the Constitution, like an amendment. I don't know much about my politics, but like how they ratify things. Or there should be a new amendment where the teams in both leagues don't play each other until the World Series, because there used to be this mystique about it, this mystery. You didn't know about the other team, and there was this fraternity culture. The American League guys were proud to be in the American League, and National League guys were proud to be in the National League. And there's none of that anymore because of two things: interleague play and just the way these guys are traded so often. Right? There's no there's 1-2 year deals. Everybody's traded around. There's no more loyalty. Everything's terrible, Marky.
Well, no, okay, whatever. I will say this. The differences between the two leagues, you want to go back, old Brave Zane Smith. He had 1 year in the American League, and it wasn't successful, and he used to say, this is just, this is not my style of pitching. I want to go back to the National League. I'm never going to pitch in the American League again because of the difference of styles, and my style of pitching does not suit up with the American League. I was 2 years before interleague play. And so there really was kind of a difference, like I said, breaking balls, fastballs, that sort of thing. And, less so now. I do want to ask, who do you think should start the All-Star game for the National League?
Oh, goodness. You're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. Does it matter? Because they're only going to pitch one inning.
That's the question. Yeah, it's just all about the honor.
Yeah.
The question is if you thought Matt Sabatka,
Probably Scherzer.
Okay. I was, because I know at 9-1, a lot of people, are clamoring for the Braves ace there. But I do want to ask about somebody who might have been, I don't know if you ever would have called him the ace, but certainly was a productive starter. When Sean Newcomb came back and basically blew Sunday's game against the Mets, I was very disappointed. Where do you think Newcomb is right now in the Braves' plans?
Well, I'm usually not this guy nerdy on you about Newcomb, and I think he's fantastic. If you look at his, and I'm gonna get there. I'm never like this, so I'm due for one nerdy appearance like every couple months, Marky. Okay, but if you look at his spin rate,
let's do it. No, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's got out of every now and then I get nerdy. Okay, I go to Baseball Savant, I nerd out.
Dude, do it.
5%. He's got a 2.5% barrel, which means guys basically make contact with his pitches 2.5% of the time. That's top 2% in all of MLB. Okay, he's got a 28.9 hard hit contact percentage, which is top 8% of all MLB pitchers. Okay? He's got the second best vertical movement on his curve. This is super nerdy, but that's 8.5 inches, second best vertical movement, which has a 37.5 whiff rate. Basically, he's elite. Now, obviously, his Achilles heel is walking guys, letting guys on base, and it's one of the things where every year me and you talk about him, and I'm probably too apologetic about him because his dad follows me on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's elite. His stuff is nasty. He's got some of the best stuff. His curveball is fantastic, which is really his out pitch. It seems he's putting guys away at 37.5% with his curveball. He's really, really good, and I don't think we're at a point where it's too late for him or anything like that. I don't think the Braves think that, but I do think that him in the bullpen is good. I really do. I don't know what it is about it, but sometimes guys need a change. They need a different situation, a different environment, and I think that him in the bullpen is going to be good for him.
Let me ask you this about the curveball you speak of. Could this actually be one of the reasons for his control? Because you're not describing a 12-6 curveball when you are discussing that sort of 8.5 drop that you mentioned. You're discussing a 12 pendulum on the grandfather clock curveball, and that's going to be below the knees. That's going to be could that actually work against his control?
It could. When he throws it right, he can throw it for a strike if he wants to, I think, it seems. But yeah, to your point, it's got such a big drop that it has the propensity to get away from him. But according to the data, guys are whipping on it. Like, that's his bread.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Why do pitchers now throw, and I think this is one of the reasons why there's so many home runs. I was watching the one game that I could see last night, which was, Cubs and Pirates, and you had Jordan Lyles, who's the starting pitcher of the Pirates. He's just throwing nothing but high fastballs. And I'm like, you're not Nolan Ryan here. You're not even John Rocker. I mean, who are guys who can get away with throwing high fastballs because people would swing and miss and all that. And sure enough, he strikes out the first two hitters. The next one, it's a home run. I mean, that's what happens when you throw high fastballs. It's a total challenge pitch. And, I note that is what's going on. I think that's becoming the modern day pitching and all. So, anyway, you mentioned that, yeah.
A lot of closers now are, we talked about Luke Jackson's slider a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened for years is baseball teams have kind of used a closer, and it's almost been like this gentlemanly thing. They're just going to throw high heat. Well, now you got guys just coming in and throwing sliders, just nasty stuff. It's change-ups and just breaking pitches. And I think the pitchers are trying to get ahead of the hitters because obviously a ton of dingers are being hit now. But if you watch like Jacob Webb the other night, he comes in and he's just throwing filthy stuff that historically, like 10, 20 years ago, that kind of guy would be starting, right? But now, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to see guys closing games throwing different stuff other than just the fastball. And it seems, I don't have the data on that, but it seems like it's effective right now.
The last question I want to ask you here, two more actually. One is about Kyle Wright. And let me just put it this way. If you look at the National League standings right now, Braves have the second best record in the National League. But let's face facts. The Dodgers are the team to beat. Okay? I mean, and I don't see them falling. I see them being the number one seed. I see them going to the National League Championship against whoever, and it will be a tough task for somebody to knock them off so they don't win their third straight pennant. Okay? I mean, that's just, look at the records. Come on, they're winning 2 out of 3 games at least. So I wonder about, do the Braves have enough pitching? Do they have a solid 5-man staff? Do they, have that can go up against the Dodgers? And I look at Kyle Wright down on the farm. In the last 5 starts, he's got a 2.10 ERA, 33 strikeouts against 7 walks, and Bill Shanks writes that he's also hit 3 batters, which he likes because it says he's pitching inside, which actually, historically, the Braves have not been 100% on, to tell you the truth. Not that they won't do it, it's just that they're not, as committed as they are to throwing, say, a strike. They'll throw a strike in the outside corner. Historically, during the Cox days, that was the case as well. Anyway, where I'm going with this is Kyle Wright. Do you foresee him maybe getting called up and joining the staff? Could this be the final addition for the Braves rotation and not, say, Fultonevich, getting it straight down on the farm?
Yeah, I think it's going to go like this, and I could be wrong, but remember how, Braves Twitter and a lot of bloggers were just up in arms about the outfield bat situation, how the Braves didn't get an outfield power bat. Well, they didn't need to because they had Austin Riley. They just called up Austin Riley. It was like signing, a free agent, right? And yeah, to your point, I think the answer is within. I could be wrong. They might go out and get someone, but to me, yeah, Kyle Wright. I mean, in June, he had like a 1.07 whip in June, and so far in July, tiny sample size, just one game. He's looked fantastic for sure, and I think the Braves still love Kyle Wright and still totally plan on calling him up, and I think he's fantastic. And then you got Ian Anderson, who, my opinion, and in 2 or 3 years I could be totally wrong on this, but to me, I think Ian Anderson is going to be better than Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright, obviously, also a number 1 draft pick, and has fantastic Vandy experience. And Ian is just out of high school, right? So he didn't even have that under his belt like Kyle Wright did. But Ian Anderson, he's fantastic, and he's in Double A. And when you're in Double A, even though it's not Triple A, you're still pretty close. You're knocking on the door if you're doing well in Double A, because oftentimes the best prospects are really in Double A, and Triple A can be sometimes like a holding cell for older guys, injured guys, that kind of stuff. And so Ian Anderson is just looking great in Double A, and maybe he gets called up too. I don't know.
Are the Phillies done? I mean, they got, let's see here, the guy, well, actually they haven't gotten him back to, I think he's still on, they're still trying to go through this, but Abdul Herrera, who, of course, was suspended for domestic violence, and the charges are dropped, so you got to figure Herrera will be back before too long. But they've already picked up, a replacement. I mean, okay, so they have one more outfielder. Is that really going to make up 6.5 games and a half of a year? Are the Phillies done? Is it now the Braves and the Nationals?
I think it's the Braves.
Yeah.
Nationals are that formidable. And, Lord, I could be wrong. It's July. There's still a lot of baseball left, But I think this Braves, I think the lineup is just great. I think the bullpen's better than folks think it is. And I think that I talked about on last week's podcast, to me, the Braves need one more starter, whether that's from within.
Whether it's Wright or Fultonevich gets his stuff straight or what. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know about Fultonevich, Marky. I don't know. He was great last year, but he seems like a head case. That's a tough one.
All right.
I'm not the GM.
There's an opinion right there. That's why we have you on, Josh Brown, Knockahoma Nation, right there. And now let's all pat ourselves in the back. We're at 1/2 game behind the Nationals, and we're going to say for a 13-year contract for Bryce Harper, we're going to jump on the bandwagon there and say that was a bad idea. But we said that when it occurred, and we said, why in the world are you signing a 249 hitter for 13 years in the first place? I mean, come on, get out of here and all this. So 13 years of booing for Bryce Harper. What do you think about that right there? All right. Eating peaches and peanuts in Boone, North Carolina, but not able to see the Braves. Thanks, baseball. You got it right. Okay, we're going right there. He's Josh Brown, Knockahoma Nation. It might be the last way you can follow the Braves anymore. Back with who... we will not be able to tell you about who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. We'll go save that conversation about Canton for next week. Tri-City Sports Now.
1920.
Yeah.